got an audience.
You can start anytime you want, okay?
Okay, so one of the aspects of radiology is fluoroscopy, and what it is basically a live moving image as opposed to your regular static images in X-ray. The purpose of it is actually to identify any kind of abnormalities in the function of the anatomy. One of the early models of the fluoroscopy was a handheld device that looked something like this. What the radiologists would do is they would actually hover the fluoroscope over the body part that they were examining, and they would see an image coming through the tube. The problem with the early models is that it was a very faint image, and what the radiologists had to do also was to dark adapt their eyes by wearing red goggles in a dark room for 30 minutes, and they would conduct the exam in the dark. The problem with that is, of course, it's very dangerous to be in the line of radiation that closely. So later on, they made better models that look something like this, and they're a lot safer to use. Again, like I mentioned, the purpose of fluoroscopy is to identify abnormalities in the anatomy, and this will explain it.
Okay, my topic is the exam types that we do under fluoroscopy. Can you hear me? So one of them is barium enema. The barium enema. What we do in barium enema is we actually have contrast and highlight the organs and anatomy of the body. I'm sorry, I already froze. The purpose of a barium enema is to highlight the large intestine. So how we do that is we use this. This is contrast. It comes in a powder substance. These are all different types of contrast that we have. Gastrographin, barium. We have omnipake. For this exam, we use barium. So the radiologist will tell us how much he wants us to administer to the patient, and we do have to administer it rectally. We'll insert the tip 4 inches deep within the rectum. And then we're supposed to have a little air tube right here where we will then press the air, and the balloon will pop out. And that's the purpose of the balloon is so the contrast won't come out. And moving on to the small bowel series, what we do is that one is administered orally, and we will do the same thing with the barium or any other contrast, and we'd have the patient drink it. We'd have the patient drink it, and it would then highlight the small intestines. Our last and final study is the esophagus study. The purpose of the esophagus study is to highlight the esophagus itself. So we'll have the patient drink it, and we'll see it in real lifetime go from the mouth to all the way down to the esophagus to the stomach. That's pretty much basically it.
We have some videos of the actual exam. And the first one is the esophagus study. Okay. And we'll actually be able to view the patient drinking the contrast as it's going down from the esophagus and into the stomach. And we'll actually be able to see the first pathology. As you can see, the patient has drank the contrast and it's now going down the esophagus and it's going to flow into the stomach. And we will see the first reflex, which is gastroesophageal reflex. Kind of feels like a heartburn, and it's going to go back up right now. And we actually don't want that because it's not going with the natural flow of things. That means there is something wrong with the patient. And another pathology we will see with the esophagus study is a hiatal hernia, which is a hernia facing the diaphragm at the end of the esophagus. And then the next video we have is an exam of the small bowel. And we'll see the small bowel flowing with contrast, and it's going. We can see the natural peristalsis of it, and we can see the metabolism and everything flowing with the contrast. Usually the pathologists we see with those are volus, which is the twisting of the bowel loops, or we'll see intussusception, which is kind of like when you get a balloon and you push your finger in and you can see being pushed in the loops. And then the last video we have is of a barium enema. We can actually see the contrast flowing from the rectum into the large intestine, and it will be flowing right all through here. And usually the pathologists will see that those are polyps, which are like little mucus membranes inside of the large intestine, or we can also have diverticulosis, which are polyps on the outside of the large intestine. And that's it.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your presentation.